To deal with Benny and retrieve his chip, Mr. House hires the best mercenaries money can buy, experts at clandestine operations. House's mercenaries enter the Tops casino posing as gamblers. Setting themselves up at a table in view of Benny, they begin the waiting game. As soon as Benny and his escort move to a more secluded area, the mercenaries quickly follow and ambush the chairman. Executing them with their silenced pistols, they search Benny and after finding the platinum chip on him, give him a bullet to the head for his troubles. The mercenaries posing gamblers casually walk out of the casino with no one the wiser to what just transpired. They return to House with the platinum chip in hand and are handsomely rewarded for their efforts along with being offered another job. House needs the platinum chip inserted into an underground facility located underneath the fort across the Colorado River. This is a risky job and the reward will be even greater. Upon 3 of the 4 mercenaries accepting, House directs them to hike north of the city and cross the Colorado River away from the Legion's view, at which point they travel down into Legion territory where they meet up with a Legion trader House has bribed considerably. The mercenaries are given rags and faulty explosive collars to wear. They'll now be playing the part of slaves. The trader along with the mercenaries enter the fort as night falls. The trader acts as though he is selling the slaves, and while it does arouse some suspicion as to how he captured 3 healthy men, his previous reputation for bringing high-quality slaves gets them through. The mercenaries are taken into slave processing, and as the Legion soldiers go to search the new slaves, they pull out their silenced weapons, taking down the legionaries all at once, and putting on their armor. While this is happening, the trader slips out of the fort when no one is watching, hightailing it west. The mercenaries make their way around the camp in disguise, but still staying out of sight. They make it to the weather control station House mentioned, undetected. Proceeding to silently kill the guard outside and the ones inside, the mercenaries open the vault and proceed down into its depths. The sentries and the robots in the vault slow the mercenaries down considerably, using all of their remaining ammo before they finally get to the control room. As the mercenaries insert the platinum chip into the console, the entire vault comes to life, whirring, clunking and clanking. It's clear their presence is now known as they rush to the surface. Caesar, waking up to the ground shaking beneath his feet, immediately knows the cause and orders his troops to the weather monitoring station. With the sight of an entire camp of legionaries closing in on them, the mercenaries all run off on their own. 2 are quickly apprehended and subsequently killed. The other manages to leap over one of the walls and make his way down to the river from where he swims away. Despite the Legion's best efforts to follow him, he escapes them and makes it back to a very surprised Mr. House. Obviously he didn't tell them, but House fully expected it to be a one-way trip. But House isn't one to pull away from holding up his end of the bargain. The surviving mercenary is paid a king's ransom for his efforts and given one last job. The mercenary is given a special piece of equipment to connect to the El Dorado substation. At the substation, with an NCR mechanic disguise on and the confidence to walk with purpose, the mercenary is able to walk right into the back entrance to the substation. The rest couldn't be easier, simply installing the module and returning to House, now having accumulated enough to retire. Now House has the most important pieces in play, all that's left is secondary in importance to the outcome of the region. House starts with making alliances with the smaller players. There's a tribe that lives at Nellis Air Force Base that may be useful on House's side. The only problem is, they seem incredibly xenophobic. He can see when they launch artillery at anyone too close to the base, all the way up from the Lucky 38. But on the other hand, that artillery could be very effective if aimed at the Legion's forces, and if it comes down to it, the NCR's. There's a way he can contact them, but it may be costly. Either way, it's worth it, so he sends a dozen Securitrons in the direction of Nellis. They stay close to the cliff until they come up on the town, upon which they frantically split in all directions and head towards the base at full speed. Many of the Securitrons get destroyed by the artillery along the way, with only 2 making it to the gate. House is quick to introduce himself before the boomers shoot him, outlining his proposition to the boomers. Winning them over with his business-savvy charm and his authoritative presence, they agree to let him talk with their leader. Mr. House speaks to Pearl with such confidence of his impending victory over his enemies, and comforting assurance that he would protect their independence against the imperialistic nations that contested the region. House only asked for a few pieces of artillery to be moved in range of the dam and used against the Legion when the battle begins. Pearl accepts House's proposition, putting another card in House's hand. Now on to his next endeavour. The sudden lack of news from his informant with the Muertas has him worried. Perhaps something is going awry. Normally he would send in operatives with experience in intelligence gathering, but those seem to be few and farther between lately, so he just decides to have the leaders killed to be safe. If they're hiding something, he'll find it. If they're innocent, oh well, he can train up their replacements. To achieve this, House anonymously hires some mercs to kill the heads of the Muertas and make it look like a robbery. Given the nature of the job, it takes a lot of searching and a lot of pay increase to get any nibbles. The bunch he ends up with can hardly be called professionals, but with his provided combat armor and energy weapons, they shouldn't have much trouble against the casino guards. So the mercs enter the casino guns blazing, firing at anyone with a gun and hitting most without. They proceed to make their way to the top dogs of the family. At this point, House orders his Securitrons to move into the casino and eliminate all threats. When the Securitrons arrive in the casino, they quickly blast the robbers into ashes. Checking on the targets, the Securitrons find the robbers didn't even manage to kill Big Sal, so kindly finish the job. But of course, the Securitrons can't be certain they found all of the robbers, so it's their duty to search the building to ensure it's safe. The building does turn out to be free from more robbers, however, the Securitrons do manage to find crates of weapons, no doubt illegally smuggled into the strip, and obviously immediately confiscated by the Securitrons. Who knows what these weapons were meant for? Maybe to arm the NCR, or possibly to arm themselves. It mattered not. Those who likely planned to use them are now dead, and anyone seeking to replicate this scheme will find it much harder with increased oversight of the goods coming into the strip. That solves the problem on the strip, or so House thinks. Soon after, the monorail at Camp McCarran is destroyed by a Legion spy, cutting off the NCR's most direct route to the strip. This will impact House's profit margins, but he can't solve every problem and he has more important things to worry about, so he leaves it up to the NCR. Now, with no other distractions, House can focus on the biggest threat to him apart from the Legion. The Brotherhood of Steel, a cult of technology-worshipping zealots. Ignorant for sure, but no doubt strong. Taking them out will be a challenge. Yet this does present an opportunity to earn some favour from the NCR. As much as it benefits House, the NCR may mistake it for him appeasing them and exposing one of their enemies. But first he needs to confirm their location. House has suspicions they're somewhere around Hidden Valley, but he can't be certain. So Securitrons are sent to Hidden Valley to scout the area. The valley is almost completely barren, save for a few entrances to old bunkers. This has to be where the Brotherhood is hiding. But for confirmation, a Securitron is left to wait and observe the area. After night falls and a fierce sandstorm starts raging through the valley, power-armoured silhouettes emerge from one of the bunkers. They notice a set of sensors watching them and knock down the Securitron. No matter, House has the confirmation he needed. Not a minute passes before House is already talking to Ambassador Crocker about the Brotherhood. It's obvious to House that although Crocker tries to hide it, he is incredibly interested in the topic as soon as House mentions it. Of course he wants his own troops to inspect the area before making any moves. If House's intel is good, a full company will be sent to deal with this. A threat this large can't be allowed to remain so close to NCR forces, especially considering the damage that could be done while NCR troops are distracted by Legion assaults. House waits patiently for the NCR's sluggish bureaucratic rearrangement of resources to complete a simple task. And as expected, the scouting of the area returns with proof of the Brotherhood and the NCR mobilizes troops to Hidden Valley. Upon arrival, the NCR forces set up defenses, preparing to ambush the Brotherhood. Unsure of which entrance to target, they set up at all of them. Eventually, a ranger shows up and informs them of the bunker he's been holed up in, cutting the number down by 1. The NCR troopers wait with bated breath, most having never fought the Brotherhood of Steel before and the rest having terrible memories of it. After what feels like an eternity, night comes, and through the storm multiple figures emerge from one of the bunkers. The troopers wait until they're out in the open and then lay fire into them from all sides, but one of the Brotherhood soldiers manages to escape back into the bunker. It's clear the NCR's presence is now known, so it now comes down to who can wait the other out. The NCR troopers feel confident, considering the Brotherhood often trades for food and water, but this confidence is soon broken after many days and nights of non-stop dust storms without a peep from the Brotherhood. Finally, the doors open to show a group of Brotherhood soldiers wielding heavy weapons. Both groups open fire at each other. Thanks to the Brotherhood's superior equipment, they manage to mow down many of the NCR troopers before they are forced back down to the bunker. The performance of the troopers is anything but optimal, and the morale is only going down as the realization of their unpreparedness sets in. The troopers decide to retreat out of the valley itself and set up on the cliffs surrounding it. This brings relief from the constant barrage of sand and dust, as well as providing an opportunity for the Brotherhood to send out a runner under cover of night. Despite the troopers' best efforts, they aren't first recon snipers and the runner evades them, no doubt heading to warn any outside members. Yet another blunder by the NCR troopers. They'll have to plan a siege of the bunker if they want to snuff the Brotherhood out. While this is happening, there's talk of the NCR president visiting Hoover Dam. This is incredibly bad. If the president lands at Hoover Dam, it's almost guaranteed the Legion will put a bullet through his head, not only destabilizing the NCR's chain of command, but most likely aiding the arguments against the Mojave campaign. This can't be allowed to happen. House hires a squad of mercs to camp out on a mountain in view of Hoover Dam and wait for the president's vertibird to come in view and then open fire on it. If he could find more competent mercs, he would ask them to purposely miss, yet most of those mercs are ex-NCR. With these bottom-feeding mercs, the safest place to be is where they're trying to aim. Upon the vertibird coming into view, the mercs begin raining bullets all through the sky, missing almost all of them. But the 1 in every 100 that hits is just enough to spook the pilots into turning around in haste, preventing any harm from coming to the NCR president. It may be a small hit to the NCR's morale to have the president turn around before arriving, but it's well worth not having his brain spread over the ground for all to see. This attack so close to the heart of the NCR's government puts them on high alert, and multiple Legion spies are found at Hoover Dam after it goes into lockdown, setting the remainder of the formerly preoccupied eyes of the NCR firmly on the Legion. With the incident at Camp McCarran and now this, the NCR is getting paranoid of the Legion and knows that this must mean their attack on the dam can't be far away. The Legion getting bolder with their attacks, moving in higher numbers, the soldiers could feel it in the air that the battle was fast approaching. As a result, all other endeavours are put on hold or ended, including the standoff with the Brotherhood. Leaving them there wasn't an option as they would obviously just attack during the battle for the dam, so the NCR officers had to swallow their pride and extend an olive branch out to the Brotherhood. The NCR troopers send an envoy into the Brotherhood bunker to offer a ceasefire. The terms are that the Brotherhood will be granted safe passage north and supplies for the journey if they agree to leave the region. With little other options and food running low, they agree to move north, ending the hostilities between the NCR and the Brotherhood of Steel in the Mojave. Just in time too. Not a day goes by before the Legion are amassing just east of the dam, sharpening their blades before the battle. Finally, Caesar unleashes his Legion upon the dam, beginning the largest battle the Wasteland has seen in decades. Legionaries coming from every direction, rushing the defensive lines, but the NCR stands strong, with plenty of soldiers available to reinforce them. They hold off the relentless Legion assault here and around the region for hours. Eventually, when the cracks begin to form in the defensive lines and the legionaries start seeping into the dam itself, the NCR still makes them pay for every step forward with piles of bodies. While this is happening, 2 of House's Securitrons make their way into the dam amidst the chaos. Arriving at the power control room, they take down the NCR heavy troopers with difficulty, then proceed in and override the systems to follow House's plan, allowing the Securitron army to be activated. So as the legionary horde stab, cut, and slice their way through the dam, and the outcome of the battle lies in uncertainty, House finally sends his Securitrons. As the odds very slowly get worse for the NCR, the Securitron army arrives at Hoover Dam, sweeping through the legionaries with their upgraded systems and weapons, saving many NCR soldiers from their assault. The primitively armed legionaries have immense difficulty taking down the masterfully built Securitrons and can do little as the robots cut down their numbers in seconds. To add insult to injury, whenever Securitron is weakened, it simply repairs itself before it can be disabled, leading to almost no Securitrons actually being destroyed. Thanks to House's assistance, the NCR has a second wind, pushing forward beside the Securitrons. But this isn't what he wants. The NCR aren't going to get the glory this time. The Securitrons are the ones who are supposed to come in and save the day. And that they do. They effectively block the NCR from participating in the remainder of the battle. The Securitrons, greatly aided on by the continued artillery fire from the boomers onto astonished legionaries, clears a path to the Legate's camp. A chance to finish this once and for all. All the remaining Securitrons rally around the camp and storm it at once. And there he is, even as all his troops retreat, standing ready for battle, Legate Lanius. House isn't one for this kind of pathetic honor-bound heroism, and sends all the Securitrons in to swarm him. Astoundingly, Lanius begins knocking them down with inhuman strength and even greater blade skills. The Securitrons can't even repair themselves before they're put offline. Even while being lit up with laser fire, the monster of the East still swings his blade with purpose and accuracy directly through the screens of the hulking robots. After dozens of laser shots and dozens of Securitrons shut down, the fire stops as the machines watch the monster fall. The second battle of Hoover Dam is concluded. The House wins. But of course, the NCR still has to be dealt with. And there's Oliver, late to the party as usual. Funny how he walks into the place like he owns it, even when outnumbered 5-1 by towering killbots that just saved his ass. His arrogant confidence is almost awe-inspiring. He even has the nerve to tell House to let him take it from there. House is in no mood for this buffoonery and clearly outlines the situation. That the NCR withdraw from the Legion and leave Vegas as an independent power. As much as Oliver no doubt wants to spit in House's electronic face, the sea of killbots surrounding him make House's proposition much more appealing, and Oliver reluctantly agrees. So the NCR begins their slow withdrawal, abandoning everything they fought so hard for. It might seem like a catastrophic loss for them, but they'll be back to it before they know it. Vegas and Hoover Dam were great prizes, and the loss of them is bad, but it can't stop the NCR's expansion. They'll still move around Vegas and continue on, or perhaps try a different direction than east. The NCR's hunger is simply too great to be stopped. The Legion, on the other hand, won't bounce back so easily. With the loss of their greatest general and much of their army, they're already in a weakened state. But with the sudden death of Caesar not long after, it's unlikely that the Legion will ever recover from this defeat, let alone become a major player in the Wasteland ever again. No, it's likely they'll crumble in a matter of years, if not months. As for House, well, he's achieved everything he wanted, but that's only opened up more possibilities. Where to even start? Maybe ridding the region of criminals and monsters, expanding the Strip, or perhaps dabbling in space travel, continuing where he left off before the war. The possibilities are endless. Indeed, there'll be a lot of work to do around here for the next few decades. So, best get to it.